Hello everyone, in today's video I will be comparing incandescent NOMA string lights with LED NOMA string lights. This is the smallest amount that you can get in a string, and this is the smallest for the LED ones. Here is the box. It's really interesting because it doesn't say NOMA anywhere apart from the website here. But Alderbrook seems to be the range of incandescent lights that they offer, and they also do replacement bulbs here. And just FYI, if you do plan to get these, to make sure that you get the correct bulb type. I haven't touched incandescent lights in like 15 years, since I was a kid, and I recently got these just for like the nostalgia of them, and to just kind of like have them to keep, just because it seems increasingly more difficult to get incandescent lights. And I had to remind myself of how the replacement bulbs work. But basically, in the UK, the electricity runs on about 230 volts. So you'll want to divide that by the amount of bulbs. And for this set, it would be about 12 volts. And then in comparison, if you have a string of 40 bulbs, that would mean that you will need bulbs that are suitable for 6 volts going through them. So yeah, just be mindful of that. But of course with LED lights, you don't need to think about that at all. And what's interesting about these is kind of like, well, it's not really interesting to be honest, but it's worth noting that kind of like pretty much every LED string light strand that you can get on the market today, you cannot replace the bulbs. And to be honest, I've like so very rarely had a set of string lights where LED ones where bulbs have gone out, but I do think it is good to have that option. So it's kind of a shame because then you have to replace the whole set, which kind of doesn't feel like, you know, good for the environment. And it's, you know, would be just cheaper to get spare bulbs. There's an independent string light company in the US called Tone, and they are coming out with their own set of mini lights, which I believe do have replaceable bulbs, so that would be really good. But yeah, so let's compare them. I already have taken these ones out of the box, so this is what these look like. And as you can see, this is where you would take them out. I actually haven't taken it out in many years, so let's give that a try. I don't want to break it. Oh, there we go. I believe if you ever wanted to replace the bulb and the holder wasn't correct, like the replacement bulbs were different to the holder, I believe you can pull these bits out to remove the glass bit from the plastic bit and then put it in the other one. Yeah, just by the way, I'm no expert, so please take this all with a pinch of salt. Then you just push it in. And yeah, some sets, I think maybe much older sets, would have screw-in bulbs. I think push-in ones became more of the standard. Okay, I'm just really cautious not to break this. Okay, give me a second here we go. Something also to note about these is they come in a circle. So rather than the wire being twisted and then you've got like just like one set with one on the end, these are in a circle. So yeah, I thought that is an interesting comparison to mention. So I've already unboxed these. I'll just put these here for a second and then let's unbox these. I really like the presentation of this box. It's like got quite a nostalgic feel to it. And then when you open them up, this is quite nice. I've got to say though, I mean it's just me nitpicking, but like I don't really think this sleeve is necessary. Like if this was all printed on here, I think that would have been great as it is. So then open it up. There's this little card about NOMA and their lights, and then an instruction thing, and yeah, if you want to pause to read. Here's this. And the inside. And then here are the lights. So they've got that modern plug, which I'm seeing on a lot of mains power string lights these days. And then here is the transformer plug. So if you live in a country which doesn't have, I believe this is called a Type G plug, then you can get other transformer plugs, but you'll just want to make sure that the output voltage is correct. So here the input voltage is 220 to 240 volts, and then the output is, I'll be honest, I don't know which one you want to focus on, 4.5 or 6 volts, and then 1.35 volts, watts, sorry. But yeah, so that's something to note if you don't live in a country that has this plug, but you still want these. And right off the bat, something that I notice about these is the way the bulbs are. So comparing them with these, as you can see, the base bit is like the same as the rest of the color here, rather than, see how that's green on the base, and then you can't remove these. I think they're like glued in there. Can I remove that? I don't want to break it. Yeah, no, that's pretty sharp. And then here is the label on here. And here's the other side. And then I'll show you the label on this one too, in case you're interested to see. Another difference between these two is this one is indoor only. Actually, no, this is also indoor only, I believe. Let me just check that. Oh yeah, no, indoor and outdoor use, but the transformer must be kept indoors in a dry environment. Here's the back in case you want to pause and read that. And I'll just show you these other sides as well in case you're interested. Oh yeah, here we go. The set operates on 4.5 volts DC, 1.35 watts. So that is what you would want if you were going to have a different transformer plug. That's what you want to look for there. And of course, if you live in a country that has 100 to 120 volts, if you're going to plug this in to a converter plug, it would actually have to also be a step down voltage converter transformer, if that makes sense, because this needs 200 to 230 to 240 volts into it. Sorry, okay, 220, 240, 230 to 240. Basically, if you live in a place which has 100 to 120 volts, I would say it's best just getting another transformer plug which can transform it into that. Does that make sense? I hope I'm not like waffling along, and hope this is handy information. But this is all just stuff that I've kind of been picking up over the past year or so as I've like got more interested in the differences of string lights and more passionate about LED string lights that look incandescent, because I cannot stand the garish LED colors, and I will do a comparison of that as well in a separate video. So let's get these plugged in. So you plug that in, twist that on. Some LED string lights at the very end have another plug so you can string them all together. This doesn't have that option. I kind of wish it did though. And one thing that's great about that, I know it's very common in the US to be able to string or connect string lights together in one whole kind of like larger string. In the UK, I don't believe that's ever really been a thing, probably because the plugs are way too chunky. On the LED ones, now that these plugs are becoming more common, I am seeing that. I think mainly on string lights which are like supposed to be for more industrial use, or like commercial use. So not industrial, but yeah, maybe industrial is the right word. I don't know. Anyway, let's do the grand reveal and compare these. So start with this one. Oh my god, it's so pretty. Yeah, sorry, I've literally just got these and I'm like just blown away about how beautiful they are because I haven't touched incandescent string lights in so long. And then here are the LED ones. I might just unravel this a little bit actually. Okay, put it around here just to keep it neat. This is quite nice, this like Velcro thing. I wouldn't say it's super necessary, but you know. So there are 5 colors on each set, and I'm really curious to compare how the colors look. Okay, so let's try and get 5 together here. 1, 2, okay, there we go. So let's start with red. Here we go. So to me, and I think it looks like that on the camera too, this is much more of an orange kind of color. And it's interesting because the base actually looks a bit chunkier than the incandescent one. The top part looks a little bit shorter. This is not great the way it's sticking out there. I have noticed that because I've got quite a few sets of these LED ones, and sometimes the like it's not the best job. Like you can see here the sort of I can't remember what you call that, the shrink stuff to keep it, the LED in there, because this is literally just like a regular LED shoved into this sort of cap casing, but you can see the base of it there, which isn't great. And very often you can see like clumps of glue. But yeah, so this is definitely not red. This is orange for sure. I mean, maybe to some people's eye that might look red, but to me it looks orange. And from other sets that I've got of this, like I've not looked at it and thought that's red, like that just looks orange to me. And then next we've got green. So here they are together. So it's interesting because, yeah, because I believe I'm trying to figure out whether the plastic has a coating on it or if the plastic is actually green. I mean, it might be both because it looks like there's sort of like a difference in the shading, sort of. I feel like it could be, I mean, the base looks like that is actually green. But it feels like there's a sort of smokiness, and maybe that's on purpose to kind of give a sort of worn look. But yeah, comparing the colors, this is more of like a darker evergreen kind of color, whereas this is more Kelly green. But it's interesting because the top of the bulb from this position looks very dark. I mean, that makes sense, I guess. And I feel like maybe that's what they're trying to do with the LED one. So now let's go to pink. Is that pink? Yes. Yeah, it's just so interesting seeing them side by side because this is more of like I would say like a Barbie pink, and then this kind of looks more like a hot pink in the middle. That's so interesting. And something else that I've noticed is there's definitely white patches. I don't know if you can, let me try and zoom in here. I apologize if this is not coming up clearly. Let me see if I put my hand there. It feels like, oh, you can't really see it. Maybe I'll show you on another one, because I do feel like with some of these that there are, like, depending on how you look at it, it looks white, and it almost feels as if like that's on purpose to make it look like a worn out version of the incandescent where the paint would have come off. I don't know. Then here is the fuse bulb. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like the fuse bulb should be the first bulb in the strand, but I'm not really sure. Let me zoom out a bit. And then here we have orange. So hold on, is this in the same order? So pink, green, pink. Okay, so blue would be here. So let me just skip to the blue. This blue is just so gorgeous. I feel like it's not showing up how gorgeous it is in person. And then comparing it with this is definitely more of a navy. Let's try and get that zoomed in a bit more. Yeah, this is much more of a navy. And then this is more of like a royal blue, maybe, or like, I'm not really good with the names of colors, but you can already see on this, I don't know if it's coming up properly, but there does seem to be, like, I think just like the nature of the product, because this is brand new, but it does seem to be like chips where white is coming through. And I do feel like they try to do that with these, because I think you can't really, maybe if I just turn them off. Yeah, you can't see when it's off. So yeah, interesting. And then yellow. So interesting. So let me just think about this. Yeah, it's not yellow. I think it's supposed to be, hold on, I'm so confused. So this is what I was comparing to the red. Sorry, the focus is really not working. This is what I was comparing to the red. But this, I think, is supposed to be orange. And this looks like a much deeper orange. But I think what it's trying to compare it to is the yellow. And I guess, I mean, I'm calling this yellow because I'm calling this orange. But now I think about it and compare it with this looks more like a dark orange. And this just looks like a lighter orange. There is no doubt that that is orange. I mean, some people might call that yellow, but like, I personally think that's orange. And then if I unplug this, like, that looks orange to me. I don't know. Tell me in the comments. Let me unplug both of them, actually. Yeah, like, yeah, no, those is definitely more comparable. But then when I compare these, the red one, yeah, like, that is definitely giving red to me. That is giving orange. But then comparing with the orange on here, like, yeah, that is orange. Interesting. Yeah, I would have liked if this was like actually red. Yeah, let's plug them back in. And then of course, because it's incandescent, this is letting off heat, which is really interesting to me. Like, I don't know, I'm just so amazed by them because it's just been so long. And this is giving off no heat. But like, looking at them sort of zoomed out here, like if I were to mix them up, you kind of, they do kind of look the same. Like from afar, they look the same. what are my thoughts on the two with this comparison? I mean, there's no doubt that these are nicer to look at, and the colors are nicer, and it just looks better quality. Like when you really look at this, it just looks kind of odd with the way the filament is, like the LED is in there. Like it looks like there's like a clump of glue all over that LED filament. I would like to have the option to be able to replace the bulb if it ever went out, or if I wanted to change the order of the colors or something. But yeah, this one looks kind of wonky. Yeah, I have thought that about these like incandescent style ones, that the quality isn't 100% there. Like look at that. It's like, here we go. This is what I mean by like clumps of glue. Is that glue or is that just melted? Oh, it's like damaged. But yeah, but I mean, zoomed out, it's not too bad. So my final thoughts are, I think for now, at the time of recording this video, this is the best that I have found for a LED alternative to incandescent string lights. But I definitely think there are improvements that could be made, and I have seen that True Tone, which is an American-based company that focuses on vintage style string lights, they have recently announced that they are coming out with incandescent style mini lights very soon, and I am definitely going to get my hands on those and do a comparison video for that. And I have a feeling that they are going to be better than these, and I'm very curious to see how they are compared to these. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.